Attention, duelists. It is I, your host, the Phoenix, and it is Monday, a Labor Day. Labor Day is irrelevant to what's happening now, which is we're going into the watch and learn. So let's watch and let's learn. I'm starting the stream later in the day than I normally would, because Labor Day, which I celebrated by sleeping in. We have a Drytron player starting us off. Activating Drytron Nova to set Alpha Thuban from the deck. They summon Diviner of Herald, which sends Herald of the Arclight up its level to 6. Herald of Arclight adds Ben 10 to hand. They use Delta Alpha, pitching Ben 10 to summon itself. Ben 10. Drytronus Medionis Quadratus will use its effect. Hang on a tick. Delta Altius's effect. When it is summoned, you can reveal a ritual monster or spell, then draw one card. The card they drew was Herald of Orange Light. Ben 10's effect will activate for being tributed to add Herald of Ultimateness to hand. Alteus and Thuban will make Mubeta Fafnir. Fafnir will send Zeta Aldaba. Aldaba's effect will tribute Herald of Ultimateness from the hand to summon itself and add Medionis Drytron to hand. They'll activate Medionis Drytron. Using Mubeta Fafnir's effect to send Thuban as material to summon back the Ben 10 from their graveyard. Medionis Drytron will reduce the attack points of Zeta to add itself back to hand. Ben 10 and Divinard, as both level 6s, will overlay to make Beatrice Lady of the Eternal. They'll activate Medionis Drytron again. Delta Altius this time will be removed as material to summon Herald of Ultimateness. Beatrice will remove a material to send Ava to the graveyard. Ava's effect will activate, banishing Diviner and Herald of Arclight to add another Diviner and a Herald of Orange Light to hand. Alpha Thuban will tribute the Medionis Quadratus from the hand to summon itself and add Angel Natasha to hand. Zeta and Alpha will make IP Masquerena. And then they will pass turn. So as it stands with Herald of Ultimateness on the field, they currently have 4 negations of monster summon, spell, or trap effects, of monster special summon, spell, or trap effects, with Beatrice, Lady of the Eternal on the field. They can detach a material to send a card from deck to the graveyard. And let me just check his extra deck. He does not have any eligible monsters for if Beatrice leaves the field. Mubeta Fafnir has already used all of its effects, and he has IP Masquerena, so with Herald of Ultimateness, he can negate 4 effects of his opponent's potential 6 that they'll have when they draw for turn. And IP Masquerena they could use to turn into something such as their extra deck's Nightmare Unicorn or Nightmare Phoenix to get rid of anything that they couldn't, or potentially go straight to the access code talker just to have a beefy boy. Let's see how the opponent responds. They summon Chosen by the World Chalice and pass turn. Drytron Alpha Thuban's effect will tribute Natasha from hand to summon itself, and then add a Medionis Draconidus to hand. Medionis Drytron will reduce attack stat of monster on the field, add itself back to hand. Draconidus will go to the graveyard so that Delta Altius can summon itself. Medionis Drytron will summon the Medionis Draconidus by tributing Mubeta Fafnir and Delta Altius. IP Masquerena and Alpha Thuban are going to link together to make the Nightmare Unicorn. They're going to pitch their Feather Duster to spin the Chosen by the World Chalice. Swing with all monsters for game. Drytron beats, I don't know, starter deck, I guess. Let's move on to the next one. have Tenyi Marincess Cybers. Opponent is once again just someone who's playing the starter deck. Tenyi Spirit Shitana will summon itself. And Marincess Blue Tang is summoned, sending away the Mandarin. Blue Tang will then turn into Blue Slug. Blue Tang's effect will activate in the graveyard. Which is going to add Seahorse from among the top 3 to hand. Blue Slug is going to add Mandarin back to hand. Seahorse will summon itself to a zone that a Link monster points to make Marincess Sea Angel. Sea Angel lets them add Battle Ocean to hand. Battle Ocean will activate. Mandarin will summon herself to the zone that Sea Angel points to, and then her and Shitana will link to make Coral Anemone. Coral Anemone and Sea Angel are going to link together to make Splash Mage. Coral Anemone will target the Seahorse in the graveyard, add it back to hand. Splash Mage will then target Blue Tang, summon her back to the field. Splash Mage and Blue Slug are then going to link together to make Marincess Marbled Rock. Battle Ocean will then activate, equipping 3 Marincess Link monsters from the graveyard to Marbled Rock. Marbled Rock will then swing over the Chosen by the World Chalice. Pass turn. I feel like... Let me check their extra deck real quick. I feel like it would have been possible for them to go into access code and swing for more. But I digress. Opponent summons Luster Dragon, swings over the Blue Tang. Passes to the opponent. They draw Marincess Wave for turn. They're going to special summon Seahorse to a zone that Marbled Rock points to. Seahorse is then going to link off to make Lingeribo. They move into battle. Marbled Rock swings over the Luster Dragon. Linger swings direct for 300. Opponent summons Beckoned by the World Chalice. Passes turn. Marbled Rock is going to use its effect to add Seahorse from the graveyard back to the hand. Then they're going to normal summon Pasculus, and then Blue Tang to a zone, or just Blue Tang to the field, I guess. Both are going to overlay to make Bahamut Shark. Bahamut Shark swings over the Beckoned. Lingeribo swings direct, and Marbled Rock swings direct for game. I feel like this would be more interesting to commentate on if the opponent was not playing the base deck. If it happens again, I'm just going to skip on the match and move on to the next one. Okay, we have a Floodgate Stun deck. Disgusting. They activate Necro Valley. Their opponent activates Max C. That's not going to do anything. Activate Royal Tribute. Royal Tribute's effect is both players control Necro Valley. Both players discard any monsters in their hand. Their opponent was forced to discard Dragon Maid Tinkek, Kitchen Dragon Maid, and Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring. That is messed up thing to do on turn 1. Players then going to use Pot of Duality. Look at the top 3. Add a Necro Valley Throne to their hand. Activate Necro Valley Throne to add Gravekeeper's Heretic to their hand. They summon Heretic, set Skill Drain and Torrential Tribute, and pass turn. Heretic's effect, this card's on the field, is unaffected by all other card effects as long as Necro Valley is also on the field. And with Necro Valley on the field, all Gravekeeper's monsters gain 500 attack and defense. Cards in the graveyard cannot be banished. Negate any card that would move a card in the graveyard to a different place. Negate any card effect that changes types or attributes in the graveyard. And Heretic, I guess, makes itself unaffected by Necro Valley's own stat boost. That's funny. Opponent sets 1 back row, passes. I would guess it'd be Dragon Maid Tidying. Player draws Starlight Road, sets it, swings direct, passes to the opponent. Opponent passes turn. Player draws second skill drain, moves into battle, swings Heretic, passes. Duel speed draws, activates Dragon Maid Hospitality, the special summon Earnest from the hand. Player then uses skill drain. Opponent will then banish the Earnest to summon Darkness Metal Dragon. Opponent activates Torrential Tribute, chains Dragon Maid Tidying to bounce their Darkness Metal to their own hand and the opponent's back row. Player draws Gravekeeper's Commandant, summons it, swings direct with it and Heretic. Duelist B is at 500. Duelist B passes turn. And somehow, despite skill drain being at 2 now, after the banlist update, this player managed to get both of them in their hand. And one on the field. And Gravekeeper's Stunlock wins. I have not been impressed by any of these 3 matches. Alright. What is this fellow playing? Halcyon pile, looks like. They summon Terratop, special summon Terratop, which adds Take Tomborg to hand. Special Take Tomborg for controlling the Speedroid. Normal summon Sangan. Sangan gets linked off into Salamandrate Almirage. Sangan's effect in the graveyard will activate to add Crusadia Arborea to hand. Arborea summons herself to the zone that Almirage points to. Links them both to make Crystron Halqifibrax. Halqifibrax uses its effect to summon the Jet Synchron. They will link off to make Mecha Phantom Beast Auroradon. Auroradon will summon its 3 tokens. Now the opponent will Nibiru. Nibiru the Primal Being comes out in attack mode. Opponent gets a token. Jet Synchron will activate in the graveyard, summon itself to the field by pitching an Ash Blossom. Player sets called by, passes. Good cutoff. Player activates Branded Opening. Opponent chains Max C. They're going to pitch a Destiny Hero Denier to add a Dramaturge of Despia to hand. Then they're going to normal summon Armageddon Knight, who's going to send away Despian Tragedy. Tragedy effect will attempt to activate, but will be negated by a Called by the Grave. Tragedy is negated and banished. Moving into battle, Armageddon Knight swings over Jet Synchron. Nibiru swings over Nibiru Token. Duelist B sets 1 back row and passes. Duelist draws the Beyond, Earth of the Yangzing, which will swing over the Armageddon Knight. Duelist B draws return. Activates Polymerization. Fusing their Nibiru with their Dramaturge to make a Masquerade the Blazing Dragon. Dramaturge's effect will activate in the graveyard, summoning itself to the field. Moving to battle, Masquerade swings over the Yangzing. Yangzing's effect will activate, and they will be taxed for 600. And Almirage will chain, which is another tax. Almirage comes to the field. Fascia summons Chi Wen. Almirage, when you use its effect. And just a tick. Which they get taxed for using Almirage to prevent Chi Wen from being destroyed by card effects. Not by battle, though, so Dramaturge will swing over it. Passes turn. Player draws Sangan for turn. Summons Sangan, moves into battle, swings into Dramaturge, takes 2,000. Sangan's effect will be another point of tax, as will the Almirage. They add a Water Enchantress to hand, but it doesn't matter because they run their Almirage into the Dramaturge to take themselves out. That was better. Wouldn't call it good. Oh, cool, we have an Alistair player. Those are always fun to see them go into Winda turn 1. They activate Magical Meltdown. Adds an Alistair the Invoker to hand. They summon Alistair. The opponent activates Dimensional Shifter. Smart move. Alistair will add Invocation to hand. Alistair will then be linked off to make Salaman Great Almirage. Almirage will then be linked off to make Secure Gardna. Player then activates Invocation, using the Alistair still in their hand with Secure Gardna to make Invoked Mechaba. Then they pass turn. Dual speed draws for turn. Activates Pot of Extravagance. Banishes 6, draws 2. Activates Pot of Duality. Wow. 2 Ash Blossoms and a Duality were on top. Then they activate Lightning Storm. Mechaba is destroyed. They activate Flaundry's Map. They're going to summon Eaglin, who targets the banished Rubina. Rubina is added back to hand. Eaglin will add the Flaundries and Empen to hand. Summon Rubina. Rubina adds a barrier statue of the Stormwinds to hand. Distribute their birds for the Empen. Empen's effect will activate, as will Eaglin. Flaundries and the Dreaming Town add to hand. They summon the barrier statue of Stormwinds. They do not attack. Player summons Shaddoll Dragon, which prompts the map to summon an Eaglin. Eaglin will add Rubina back to hand, allow them to summon. Also will add a Rise of the Mega Monarch to hand. They will summon the Rubina. Rubina will add Flaundries and Stree to hand. They will summon Stree. Stree will banish the D-Shifter. They'll tribute 2 monsters to summon Rise of the Mega Monarch. Stree's effect for going to the graveyard will activate. Or the effect responds to something being summoned. So Eaglin and Stree that are then banished will be added back to hand. Because Flaundries has stupid recursion. Rise's effect will activate, bouncing the Shaddoll Dragon. Shaddoll player passes turn. Main phase 1, player summons Eaglin again. Adds a Mist Valley Apex Avian to hand. Tributes 2 birds to summon Apex Avian. Rubina and Eaglin's effect will activate for being sent to the graveyard, but then a monster was summoned, so they'll both go back to hand. Player activates Flaundries and the Unexplored Winds. Send some birds back, draw cards, activates Pod Duality again. Chains their own D-Shifter for some reason. They have lethal on board, but they are a flow player, so you can't really expect the best. Add a Dreaming Town to hand. Move into battle. Swing with Barrier Statue. Apex Avian. Empen. And lastly, Rising. And that is going to be a victory for Empen over Invoked. Not happy to see either of those. Some kind of Dark Magician player. Opponent's going to summon Dragon Maid Chamber, set 1 back row. Chamber adds downtime to hand. They set downtime and pass. Player draws Plate of Oracle Mahad, which will summon itself. Standby phase, main 1, activate Dark Magic Circle. Set Blue Dragon Summoner. Opponent activates Tidying to bounce Chamber and Mahad. Player then activates Hand Destruction, pitching Mahad and Dark Magician. Across Magician's Rod and Witch of the Black Forest, opponent pitched a Black Metal Dragon and another Dragon Maid Tidying. They summon Chamber again, chain the Dragon Maid Tidying in their graveyard, banishing it for effect, which allows them to summon Kitchen Dragon Maid from their hand. Chamber adds Dragon Maid Changeover to hand, then Kitchen Dragon Maid will add a Lorpar to hand, and they will pitch Lorpar. Move into battle phase, Kitchen will bounce to the hand to summon the Lorpar. Move to main phase 2, activate Changeover, fusing Kitchen and Lorpar into Sheo. Activate Dragon Maid Hospitality, summon Kitchen back to the field, sending away Tinkek. Then Chamber and Kitchen are going to link off into Hieratic Seal of the Heavenly Spheres. Pass turn. Sheo's going to use its effect to summon Tinkek to the field. Player summons Magician's Rod, attempts to activate effect. Max C will chain. Hieratic Seal will chain to that as well. Dragon Maid Downtime, chaining to this field. Seal, targeting Tinkek. Tidying in the graveyard, chain, banishing itself for cost. Tidying will set Chamber to the field. Downtime will bounce Tinkek, add Nurse to hand. Seal will bounce Dark Magical Circle. Magician's Rod will resolve. Seal's effect will activate for being tributed, and Chamber's effect will activate for being summoned. Chamber adds another Changeover to hand. Seal will summon a Darkness Metal Dragon. Player reactivates Dark Magic Circle. Opponent will chain an Ash Blossom to this, so the player will not be able to stack their deck. Search card. Player sets Soul Servant. Enters battle phase. Chamber bounces away. Searches out for Lorpar. Player uses Tinkek in hand to stat boost Sheo instead of their Darkness Metal Dragon. Passes turn to the Dragon Maid player. Sheo's effect will activate. Downtime will chain, targeting Lorpar. Lorpar is returned to the hand. Kitchen Dragon Maid is added to the hand. Sheo will summon back Tinkek from the graveyard. Nurse is summoned. Nurse brings back Kitchen. Kitchen will add a Chamber Dragon Maid to hand. And pitch a Chamber Dragon Maid. Changeover in the graveyard will add itself back to the hand in exchange for bouncing Nurse. Changeover is activated, fusing Kitchen with Lorpar, making a second Sheo. Not exactly the most helpful. Activate Changeover again, fusing Kitchen with Tinkek for the third Sheo. Should have made house. Could have popped your opponent's board for using the Dragon Maid's tag outs. They swing with Sheos into monsters, destroying Magician's Rod. Blue Dragon Summoner is destroyed. Its effect attempts to resolve. Sheo will negate this, send itself away. Now House is summoned. Sheo swings direct for 35. House swings for the finish. Dragon Maid wins out over Budget Dark Magician? Guess that's what I'll call it. Alright, we have Dragon Link, I guess? What is this guy doing? He has Dragon Maid Sheo, Dragon Maid House, Blue Eyes Twin Burst, Five-Headed Dragon, Galaxy Dragons, Draglubion, Hieratic Seal. This guy's just playing dragons. Opponent sets 2 back row, 1 monster passes. Player draws Imperm for turn. Summons Starlead Safert, swings into his opponent's Cradle Eagle. Cradle Eagle will take the opponent's Starlead Safert and equip itself to it. Passes turn. Cradle player's turn. They set 1 back row. Attempt to swing with Safert. Opponent will activate an Imperm. And the player will activate Bad Aim, which destroys the Safert. This is weird what's happening right now. Player draws Keeper of the Shrine, summons it. Opponent activates Torrential Tribute. During the end phase, they'll activate Metal Reflect Slime. Tribute Metal Reflect Slime. They'll summon Egyptian God Slime. Set 1 back row. God Slime swings for 3,000. Mahama, the Fairy Dragon, will activate for having taken 3,000 damage. Will summon itself, inflict that damage to the opponent. Then, because the player took battle effect damage, they can summon Guardian Slime. Guardian Slime will then be attributed to make a second Egyptian God Slime. And will add Ancient Chant to hand. They activate Ancient Chant, which adds a Winged Dragon of Ra to their hand. Last turn. They're going to set a White Stone of Ancients and pass. It's the Egyptian God player's turn. They activate Millennium Revelation, pitching the Winged Dragon of Ra to add Monster Reborn to hand. Millennium Revelation will send itself to the graveyard. Then they activate Monster Reborn, targeting Winged Dragon of Ra. Ra will summon itself. Ancient Chant in the graveyard will banish itself. Ra will pay 1,000 to destroy the White Stone of Ancients. And the Mahama, Keeper of the Shrine summoned. Ra will keep popping cards for 1,000. And then the God Slams will both swing for game. Somehow that was the most entertaining match we've seen so far, in my opinion. Alright, hang on just a tick. Blue Eyes White Dragon, Jet Synchron, Creation Resonator, Silver Rocket Dragon, and Wandering Griffin Rider. Is this Halkpile Dragon Link Adventure Blue Eyes? Why do you run Blue Eyes? Let's see what they do. Wandering Griffin Rider will summon itself. Then they summon Creation Resonator. The two are then going to link off to make Alki-Fibrix. Alki-Fibrix will then summon the Jet Synchron that was in their hand. Those two will then link off to make Mecha Beast Auroradon. Auroradon will summon 3 tokens. Then use its effect, triggering itself in 1 token to summon Mecha Beast O-Line from the deck. O-Line and Mecha Beast token will then sync to McTG Hyper Librarian. The O-Line will summon a token back to the field. Jet Synchron will pitch the Blue Eyes from their hand to set itself. Then that and a Mecha Beast token will sync off to make Cupid pitch. McTG Hyper Librarian's effect will activate, as will Cupid pitches. Pitch will reduce its level by 1. Then it and Mecha Beast token, the remaining one, will sync off to make Coral Dragon. Hyper Librarian's effect and Cupid Pitch will activate. Cupid Pitch deals 600 damage to the opponent, and they get a Nemesis Corridor to hand. TG Hyper Librarian lets them draw the Water Enchantress. Water Enchantress will banish herself to add Red of Air's Mirror. Air's Mirror will activate, summoning the token. And a Fateful Adventure. Nemesis Corridor will target the banished Jet Synchron, put it back in the deck, summon itself. Fateful Adventure adds a Draco back to hand. Doesn't matter though, because the Coral Dragon and the token are going to sync off to make Baron de Fleur. Hyper Librarian activates, let him draw another card. Coral Dragon effect activates Chaining in response. Adds Psyframe Gear Gamma. Will activates Melody of Awakening. Pitching the Gamma to add a Chaos Dragon Leviner and Chaos Emperor. They're going to banish 3 to summon Leviner. Leviner's going to add the Creation Resonator back to hand. Nemesis Corridor will then be used to summon Thunder Dragon Colossus. The Hyper Librarian and the Creation Resonator will then go into Borreload Savage. Savage equipping itself with Mecha Beast Auroradon. So what the opponent has to contend with is he has an Omni Negate and Destruction. He has an Omni Negate. He cannot add cards to his hand, And the opponent has 4 bodies on board, ranging from 2,600 to 4,050 attack points. He responds the only way you can, using Lava Golem to tribute the Borlode Savage and the Baron de Fleur. He reveals Lord of the Heavenly Prisons, sets 3 and passes. Lava Golem will burn for 1,000. Player turns to attack mode, banishes the Borlode Savage to summon the White Dragon Wyver Buster. Wyver Buster will then link off into Striker Dragon. Wyver Buster's effect will activate in the graveyard, as will Striker Dragons. Striker Chain 1, Wyver Buster Chain 2. Wyver Buster adds Collapse Serpent to hand. Striker Dragon adds a Boot Sector launch to hand. Banishes the Wyver Buster to summon the Collapse Serpent. That and Striker Dragon are going to link off to make a Dragoonity Knight Romulus. Romulus will add Dragon Ravine to hand. Player activates Dragon Ravine. Use Ravine effect, pitching the Draco back to send away Absol Router to the graveyard. Absol Router will draw 1, which is Rocket Tracer. We'll activate Boot Sector launch over the Ravine, using Boot Sector to summon the Silver Rock and Rocket Tracer from their hands. These two are going to sync off to make Chaos Ruler the Chaotic Magical Dragon. Chaos Ruler will mill 5, let him keep 1. He's going to keep a Sage with Eyes of Blue. Chaos Space in the graveyard will banish itself, targeting Borlode Savage, returning it to the extra deck. Summons an Sage with Eyes of Blue, which adds a White Stone of Legend to hand. Sage with Eyes and Chaos Ruler are going to sync off to make Ravenous Croco Dragon Arctheus. Arctheus will let him draw a card. He will then pitch 2 to attempt to pop one of his opponent's back row, and he will then chain that, so Heavenly Ruler is protecting it from being popped, so then he will use Chaos Ruler's effect, banishing a light and a dark to summon itself from the graveyard. Swings direct with Lava Golem. Opponent activates Dimension Wall, so they take 3,000 instead. The Mahama Dragon will then be summoned, and because during either player's turn when they took damage, and it will deal that 3,000 damage again. Player attempts to swing with Thunder Dragon Colossus. Opponent activates Ceasefire, dealing 500 damage for each effect monster on the field, which is 7. 3,500 overkill. Now that was an entertaining match to commentate on. And you know what? I'm being called away by people, and it's Labor Day, so we'll call this one a short one, which means time for the outro. That's going to be the end of this video. If you caught the stream, thanks for watching. If you got to the replay, thanks for that too. Goodbye.